Hey there, fellow homesteaders. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to RimWorld Unstable 1.6, Episode 3, Seeking Shelter and Shade from the Heat. Alright. Getting the groundworks for our kitchen. So one thing I did not include in here is coolers. So I'm going to want to vent, 2 vents, coolers, and then a chimney. I'm not going to worry about double insulation. I don't think our map tile gets quite hot enough to really warrant it. But I like internal chimneys where the coolers don't get necessarily destroyed. Alright, now that we have that, we're also going to want power to the coolers. You are tree cutting over research. Oh, no, you're delivering. You're still on High Party Hall. I have no idea why I left that on so long. My bad. Go back to research. Go back to training. Animal training. Are you any better at taming animals? Not really. But Steelboot, regardless of the really terrible training that Stochastic's doing, is getting trained for rescue, which is great. And Steelboot is doing lots of hauling. What a good pup. If we want to make granite chunks more easily carvable, Steelboot, as a hauler, can help with that. We'll have a chunk haul zone, and Steelboot can move chunks to them. Now, one of the reasons we're having a lot of filth is the floor here is still rough stone, which causes filth buildup. Rough slate. So replacing that floor might be nice. If I ended up with a lot of wood, I know it's flammable, but it's a really quick and dirty way to have decent flooring. And I think that's probably the route I'm going to go rather than smoothing out the floors, which is a burden on colony wealth and also on manual labor. I want to keep things simple. Whoa, you can already rescue? Alright, I don't think I want Steelboot attacking, despite the name, because I don't want to lose a puppy that way. Furniture. Animal bed. The best doggo gets the best bed. Also, let's put your bed next to your bond owner. No Steelboot to the face? Nope, not in this case. Animals are really hard to heal and recover, right? So unless you have some sort of mod that allows you to, have animal bionic parts, using animals for combat means they're, after a few fights, they're basically disabled. It's really sad, so I don't like doing it. Well, the Rosai people are back. I'm surprised I haven't had, a random joiner yet. The game is not trying to increase my population really at all, surprisingly. So Stochastic is just researching, plugging away on microelectronics, and then as soon as Lisk is done with the tree cut, Lisk will probably be doing the stone cut next with Rayback, the both of them, because we're sort of backlogged on stone required for the kitchen. Transport pod crash. Oh, speaking of which, It's an Edin. Misandrous, cyclically dull, body modder, undergrounder. 31 years old, shooting intellectual, animals, art, social, really, really wounded. Could be rescued, but I think in this case, like, I'm not gonna jump to that. I'm not ready. If they were healthy and I had, like, I don't have prisons, there's a lot of reasons not to do it just yet. As much as I'd like to expand our population, it's not going to be through that pod dropper. Aren't Edin sleepy? So Edin are heal slow, but they're tough. They're good brawlers, and they're faster naked. They suck at mining, they're really good at taming, and they spend more time sleeping. The sleeping isn't that big of a deal, because you can just really have sleep accelerators or high quality beds and counter for it. Speaking of high quality beds, once I have this done, I might try for a higher quality double bed, because the poor bed here has a sleep rest effectiveness is 92. Whereas Stochastics is 100, so it's an 8% difference, which, you know, might not sound like much, but in a given day, that could be pretty, that could be a lot of work. Missed out on. Gazelle meat is gone. I'm not really planning on hunting until, you know what, I might even want, well, we'll see. I'm not really planning on hunting until we actually have like a freezer. I don't want to keep getting meat and then having it rot, which is going to happen until our kitchen is set up. All right, we're about half done with that. It's nice. It's coming together. And I'm keeping the butchery and the kitchen separate, so as to reduce food poisoning even further. Oh, a raid. Wimop Lom. Interesting. They're attacking me with frag grenades. So it's a pigskin pyromaniac teetotaler with frag grenades, which is really easy to defeat as long as I'm careful about micromanagement, because you can dodge nades pretty easy. I'm going to let them come to me. I'm not going to go after them. And they're wearing a flak jacket. Oh, that's pricey. They're a bit of a wealthy raider, I must say. Yeah, free grenades? Yeah, that's exactly what I had in mind. It's like, oh, you're raiding me with grenades? Thanks. What a gift. What a bruh. Squeak! You're already down a lung? And you're dead. Alright, Rayback, you are Mr. Happy. So, Stochastic, you don't need to see that body. Get back to work. Rayback's in a relationship, so Rayback's going to be responsible for corpse messing. And because of the generosity of this raider, I can clean up corpses easy peasy. What corpse? Yeah. Just blow it up. Thanks for the nade, moron. Because I don't have Molotovs, I don't have a crematorium, but I do have frag grenades. And, when in doubt, throw nades at it. That's what I've learned in my experience in RimWorld. Go away, fox. Okay, kitchen's almost done. We just need some shelving and production facilities, but it's pretty close to finished. And then we obviously need to clean it up because it is filthy. But the idea behind putting roads out here, paths between buildings, is I hope we'll eventually get to the point where we track in a lot less filth. So... let's do, as I mentioned before, some slate. So the plan is we're going to have meat, veggie, meals. Although, if we have our dining room up here... no, scratch that. I don't like that spot. I want to put the table over here instead. So meals, meat, veg. Because if we're dining here, I want to be able to grab the meals quickly. And sharing a wall is a bit of an issue. So if we do have a dining room here, I'll double insulate the northern wall so it doesn't share. So that we have a dining room that can be temperate and a kitchen that is not. A kitchen that's cold. Heat wave for pay. Alright, a vengeful machine persona is threatening the tribespeople of Rosai. And they're offering mining XP book and silver, glitter romads, or hyperweave. Do we accept the heat wave? Here's the thing. If we can sit on this until I have this built, and then the heat wave is like not much of an issue when you have a freezer. So, you know, we can accept without a lot of discomfort because we already have passive coolers in here. And if we get freezers in here, the heat wave, the main threat of the heat wave is mostly like negated, in my opinion. All right, shelves. This is going to be critical for meals that are not packaged survivals. This is going to be critical for veg that is not fungus. And this is going to be critical for meat that is not human or insect. Would the glow roll meds be super useful this early on? Possibly. Luckily, because of who I randomly got, I do have, everyone has a passion in medicine. Generally, glow roll meds are really useful when you only have one doctor and they have to self-tend some sort of critical wound because the quality of self-tending is lowered. So you risk having your doctor die if they have to self-tend. But in my case, everyone can do medicine to some degree or another. So glow roll meds is like a little bit less useful, but it's not useful. And then, of course, if you end up with a paralytic abasia joiner, people that are paralyzed can be cured of their paralysis with glow roll meds, which is a big deal. So if you ever, you know, have someone that arrives paralyzed, you can just fix it, which is huge. All right, looks like you guys do want the heat wave for pay. Then I'm going to have you decide on the rewards. What reward? So we have got Glit Meds, Book and Silver, or Hyperweave. If you want my opinion, the book is probably the best one, but it's not to say you have to vote for it. The advantage of the book is we can put a bookshelf in the laboratory and actually speed up the research speed with the book, which is kind of nice. But again, it's up to you. You know, I'm happy to go either way. So now that we actually have a freezer here, I can go and start hunting animals to build up our meat supply. And then the butchery, I'm going to have the ingredient radius be very small, just around the butchery table. So the other thing I want to do here, so this is make granite blocks. I'm going to do a make slate blocks because I want slate shelving in here in the kitchen for the rest of the food. So we're going to have slate shelves. Yeah, let's see if we can't make this a little bit nicer. And this might be like shelving overkill, but I mean, anyone knows that really quickly your cooking facilities can fill up pretty quick. And then this shelf will be for tea or beer later on. So these shelves are all going to be linked together, made a slate, and this is just the preferred or important for foods. And then I'll click off the packets of Rebel meals, the hay, the kibble, hemogen packs, insect and human meat. Actually, I'll include insect and human meat. I'm not planning on butchering them, but we could always turn them into chem fuel if we got them randomly. And then we're also going to want ambrosia in there. We're going to want herbal meds in there. We're going to want plant matter that does not die in there. And I believe that's about it. And I'll call this kitchen shelves. So we have a slate cutting task to get all the materials for the shelves. Right. You guys want books and silver. Got it. We are heading deeper into the summer, so the sooner I accept this, the better. So I'm going to accept it now. And we'll put a bookshelf. For now, just because I have wood, it's going to be made of wood. Bookshelf in the lab to benefit from the temperature benefits of, or the adjacency benefits of having a book. Another quality of life thing that they added in for this latest update is people that are reading books that are incapable of hauling will return books to the shelves when they're done. Previously, that was not the case. The people that had books that were incapable of hauling would just drop the book on the ground, which was really annoying because it could get ruined due to weather, or they could, your research speed increases when you have books available near your research bench. So not having them return them books was annoying, but that has been changed. Where is my book anyway? Oh, here it is. So here's the benefit. Research speed went up 1% because we have a reading speed bonus of 1%. I'm going to have a reading assignment now, a reading policy. The default is going to be none. Or the default is going to be novels. And then I'm going to delete the other policies. So this one is going to be called minor. So novels and textbooks. And the gain here is going to be for mining. So novels are for recreation, schematics are for technology, textbooks are for learning skills, and then tomes are for anomaly. So the minor that we have obviously is Lisk. So what I'm going to do is Rayback and Strategic are only going to read novels, and Lisk is going to read this book. He's the only one allowed to read this book because I don't need the other ones learning mining skills. All right, I am no longer going to sow the rice now. I'm going to transition our staple crop from rice to corn. And I'm going to grow a whole lot of it. Corn is the most bang for your buck manpower that you can do. So corn's ideal when you're trying to not work very hard. All right, we are getting heat strokes. So the other thing I might need to do, I do have complex furniture. So in order to compensate for the heat wave that we got going on, I think I'll just do a hand tailor bench rather than an electric one. I don't really mind the hand tailoring, but I am going to want like some sort of heat stroke preventing addition so that we don't end up passing out due to this heat wave. Hats for everyone, possibly dusters too. Because inside our base here, it's still pretty hot. I mean, the doors have been opening and closing pretty regularly. The research room is cooler. So what I could do is I could force this door open to help normalize or equalize the temperature between the two, to help cool down this room. But this heat wave is a wee bit brutal. Get some shade cones or get some cowboy hats or something. Yeah, exactly. How are we doing on cooking? 5? So as soon as Lisk hits cooking 6, which should be, yeah, then soonish, we'll have some fine meals, which will be pretty nice on the mood. And then I'll have to remember to, like, change the food allowances. You can see here Rayback using pretty exclusively the actual roads. And one of the other huge benefits of this is the way filth works is you drag in filth when you go from natural tiles to artificial tiles, for the most part. And if they use roads, if he's running into this room following this road, the filth is more likely to land on the road than the room, because he's spending all the lead up to entering the room on pathing tiles. So basically you're cleaning your shoes, think of it that way, on the paths. Which means it's you know, the new pathing update actually helps cut down a little bit of colony filth, especially if you use stuff like hay straw flooring. All right, I am gonna make cowboy hats, I think. So, like, cowboy hats are heat 9, bowler hats are heat 7, shade cones are heat 9. Oops, I didn't mean to actually queue one up. Shade cones are heat 9, and if I had to go, you know, maybe I'll do one shade cone and 2 cowboy hats. I'll do the shade cone for Lisk, who's our farmer. And we'll use plain leather. In terms of defensive capability, I mean, they're all the same. So Taylor would be used to attach dig. So take a break from research, because I know you're in a nice refrigerated research room, but the rest of us colonists are suffering this heat, and get us some lovely cones and hats. Because yeah, we are getting heat stroked. And then I can also consider dusters too. So it goes forceware. So the difference here is we're protected up to 38 Celsius, up from 30-ish. 38 Celsius is nowhere near enough compared to what the ambient temperature is. So once we're done with this, we will also consider dusters or capes. So a duster is 15 degrees heat, and a cape is 15 degrees heat. So I'm going to make one cape for Rayback and then dusters for everyone else. Basically, people are getting, like, things based upon their personality. So Lisk, being the farmer, gets like what looks to be a farmer's hat. Rayback, being the royal, gets a cape. And then the others get dusters. I don't have enough leather for all of this, so if I want the leather, I'm also going to need to do some hunting. But the problem is, due to the heat wave, almost everything worth a damn to hunt out here is gone. And unfortunately, all that's left is, like, horses. So, rip band of horses, you're going to have to get shot at. Hey, Nick the Good, thank you for the resub. Ooh, awful. Ugh. So that's awful, this is normal, and this is normal. I might try for another cowboy hat. The problem with the awful is it has terrible insulation values due to it being quality modifier 80%. But on the other hand, Stratastic is in the research room most of the time, so maybe it doesn't really matter that that in particular is awful, because it's not like Stratastic goes out in the heat for most of the day. So perhaps it's fine. Which DLC would go well with Ideology? Honestly, any of them. Ideology is the most most integrated DLC of them all. It is Ideology doesn't like add a ton of content to RimWorld, but it allows you to... It has a lot of replayability and integration with the other DLCs. I would say the least integrated would be Anomaly, the most integrated would be Ideology, the most content-filled would be Biotech, and then the biggest change to combat... Well, the most... I don't know. Royalty is like the OG, and sidecasting makes you insanely strong. I don't know. I have a soft spot for Royalty. I really do like what Royalty adds, but it's... I think Biotech adds the most, and Ideology adds the most replayability. And then Royalty and Anomaly rank up there. There's a lot of hate for Anomaly, and I've spoken about this on the channel before. I actually still like Anomaly. I like the sort of like mystery behind like creep joiners and things like that. But obviously it's it has relatively low replayability as a result of things that are mysteries. Once you figure out those mysteries are not mysterious any longer. So I can totally appreciate the fact that some people don't care much for Anomaly. To each their own. Steel Boot's just been like eating our packaged survival meals. I might want to create a zone for Steel Boot. I was kind of waiting for me to have like a dedicated stockpile to bother doing that, but maybe I won't, because Steel Boot's been eating packaged meals and also like other things that probably isn't correct. Yeah, at the end of the day, whatever you feel about the DLCs, the amount of hours I get from playing them, they're worth their price. I think that's like the ultimately the way I feel is like, it doesn't matter whether I how much I like them. if I spend like hundreds of hours playing them, they were worth it. That's my ultimate feeling. All right, so we got the cornfield. We're phasing out the rice paddy, so I'm not resowing that anymore, just so that I can free up more time spent, you know, productively and less time farming. And Lisk, how close are you to fine meals? You are a third of the way to leveling up. Good. And here, Lisk is reading the book for mining experience. Is because the mining experience ticks up, and because he has a burning passion in it, it's a lot faster than the other people would gain. Finally gotten that light in. I was wondering when that was going to happen. So the shelving is almost done. And then once the shelving's done, I'll take on a new project. So what to build next? Up to you. Oh, it's rotting away. That's because it's so hot. That's okay. I could add more freezers here, but I'm not going to build for the hottest that the map tile will ever get, being in summer in a heat wave. I'm not super concerned about that. I don't have enough grid excess on my wood fire generator to keep another cooler going anyway. Awful little barracks. Dull laboratory. Hey, I don't see that the book came back. Where is the book? Oh, someone dropped it. I went so far as to say, like, hey, you know, they don't drop books anymore, and then they immediately just go, up on the floor. Like, you dummies. It's not where it belongs. Alright, so here's the Rayback Escape. And now Rayback is protected to 52 Celsius, which is about what ambient is midday. So we won't get heat stroked anymore. Plus, of course, there's the armor bonus of a cape. It's not much, but it's better than, you know, being nakies or without one. So all we have left to do is to make the dusters, and we're good. And it looks like next you guys are going to want rec and dining. So I will undertake that project soon. And, oh, you are trained to haul again. Good. Uh-oh. Lisk got the plague. Bed rest for Lisk. And medical treatment is going to be from Stutashtig. You're going to be given industrial meds. Alright. Cool. Record dining. Copy that. New quest. Rewarded conflict. So, Toxo Shark Tolsayan or whatever. Save one caravan. So they are the leader of the Thago Pact. The Thago Pact is a fierce Neanderthal pact. I would have to fight an Edin and two similar sized groups. The Edin will arrive in 4 days. And it's a death rest book. Silver, gold, or gene pack for heat weakness. Should I accept the paid conflict? If I did, I'd probably wait for the timer at max timer, or at least until Lisk recovers from the plague. I don't want to accept a quest a man down, because that is a bad idea. Alright, you guys want me to make the dining room next. So I'm going to update the priority here. Build dining and recreation. So the plan was... Actually, the plan originally was to have it share a wall, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I kind of like the concept of, like, buildings standing on their own. Having standalone buildings and making it seem a little bit more organic. So that's going to be my design. And this time around, I think what I'm going to do is to use a non-standard shape for dining. Using, like, the circular designators. So 11 by 9. A little bit. 11 by 11. Made of marble. There we go. Dining room coming together. Muffalo was eating my rice. Might be time to haul. Yeah, I do have a lot of rice, though. But yeah, I think you're probably right. Rayback and Stutashtig, let's haul some of that in so it's not wasted. I could always wall it up, too. And maybe I'll do that for the corn. But if I ever want to use the water power, I'm going to want to, like, create bridges and wall it up in that way. All right, one more minute to vote this poll. I see it's relatively close, so if you haven't voted yet already, please feel free to do so. Did I take paid conflict? one left. But we do have enough plain leather for all dusters. That's nice. I didn't realize Lisk was a slave. Medieval slave. Well, they're not enslaved here. I guess it's fine. Then you were an apocalypse survivor counselor, trauma counselor, and you are a defector shelter child. Interesting backstories. We're going to have a lot of stuff rotting as a result of this mega heat wave. We're almost in refrigeration temperatures now. I think the heat wave is subsiding, maybe. Oh, actually, no, it was timed. Because it's a quest. So 7.4 days, and we are 3.7 days in. So we're about halfway through. Stone bridges. Yeah, so in terms of bridges, you can't build stone bridges, I don't think. Let me see. Bridge. I think that's... Not yet in? I could be wrong. But so far, I mean, I like how you can have bridge shapes. That's interesting. I don't really see the... Well, if you have a fishing hole, I can kind of see the value, I guess. But that's a very isolated situation. All right, how bad is this? 62. Yep, you'll be fine. And it looks like we're going to do paid conflict. So, what are the rewards for the paid conflict? Vote for a quest reward. We got book and silver, gold, gene pack for heat weakness. And it's a sanguiphage death rest book. Alright, that might be the last medical tending needed to be done. Wow, we even have simple meals going. I think, Lisk, you're going to have to take a break from bed rest to just cook up some meals. So let's clean the kitchen and then cook. Maybe we'll get an extra pawn coming in and be able to hook up that mech band and get like a clean sweeper so we get some cleaning going on without having to, you know, constantly queue that up. That would be nice. Alright, dusters are done. I'm gonna have Strutashtig wear the... Actually, no, you should wear that normal quality duster because it's higher quality armor. So all the clothing that we needed is finished. And everyone has a slightly different outfit, which is kind of cool. Thank you for tuning in to RimWorld Unstable 1.6, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, fellow RimWorlders.